and the good. Can't just rely on Father when things are bad. All right, most people cling to Him when things are really hard, so, or plead to Him to make it not so hard, and then forget when things are good. So we need to give Him thanks for all things. So, Shiloh, thy kingdom come. The redemption of the bride is my focus. So I'm not going to be distracted by the worldly things, but I still have to take care of these things. Thank you, Father, for that. So all glory to the Creator of all things. So I should not be anxious if He created all things. And then it's not by chance, it's not by luck. No such thing as luck, no such thing as fortune, no such thing as free will. So with that in mind, talk about the right of the Constitution. That was a God-protected, God-given, one nation under God, right? Remember, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution, all are amendment rights. And so the right to protect yourself is the right under your Fourth Amendment to be secure in your houses, papers, persons, and your effects. The right to warrantless search or seizure. So under Title 18, if you think somebody's going to violate that right and cause harm to your property, your houses, your persons, your papers, or your effects, you have the right to deem the necessary force to eliminate that threat. So under the right of affirmative defense under your Fourth Amendment, you have the right to protect yourself from legal prosecution. And that right is excused defense. It excuses your civil and criminal liability, justifies its justification defense under your right of the Fourth Amendment of self-defense. And try to legally prosecute you, you have the right to defend yourself. So I have been in a big old puppy dog. Oh, you spilled my coffee all over. Kick me right now. You're such a heavy boy. All right, so I have to protect my animals. You know, the right to protect your mules. Oh, big old guy. So this is a right that most people do not assert, but it is your Fourth Amendment right. I asserted my right, and they violated it, I have the right to protect you. I'm a veteran, so I'm going to protect the Constitution, whether it's being enforced properly or not, because that's the oath I took to the Constitution as a veteran, and my tour of service doesn't end. It says your first general orders: do not quit your post until properly relieved. So I don't hear anybody else talking about it, but that's all right. Everybody gets a different measure. Father pours out a just measure, so that's why I seek no vengeance against no man. And I'm not weak, I'm meek, I'm a pacifist. I don't want a confrontation, but I will stand up. That's just part of the suffering that we must go through under this New Testament. This gospel is not an easy peace. That's antichrist or false teaching. Prophet is teacher. He said, call no man teacher. Prophecy was all fulfilled. So I have nothing to be anxious about. It's a constitution that, whether people realize, this used to be a constitutional republic, this America, and now it's not. So it's a corporation, and I'm not part of that corp because I'm still here. Although they tried to kill me, it's okay. Father has my back and my front, and you should have a battle buddy. That's always nice, to never leave your battle buddy. If anybody's military, well, you're swine. We shouldn't have any military outside our borders, so that's not correct. And under this covenant, Father used to require, under the Old Testament war, he had his heavens, he had his ruling class, and ruled over the earth. The earth is the ruled, and the heavens are the ruling class. So people scripturally get that incorrect, and they think God's in the sky, and that's exactly why he divorced his bride Israel. And Israel's not a place on this rock. It's all 180 continents, right? Continents, yeah. Countries. I wish we had that many. Maybe they should open up the outer space, tear down the ice wall, tear down the wall. All right. Hashtag that out. Around the world, around, like an ice wall. All right. We won't go there. These people are lunatics. They like their pole gods and their north and south. So he said, I am the Horizo. But either way, people call him all kinds of names. Not the right one. Name is Shem, and that was the second born of Noah. But anyways, let's move on with your right of constitutional God. One nation under God. Doesn't matter what you believe, because believe is not a thought in your head. You can't believe in Jesus. You can't believe in God. You're out of order. He said, don't add a jot. And they've added a whole ball in the sky. And they think they live on a planet. He didn't create one planet, not one single. And he said, don't add a jot. Now they created a whole planet. Planet of the Apes. Bunch of monkeys running around. You know, see no evil, hear no evil. The silent majority speak no evil. So I thank Father for that. The Most High, Horizo, he said before Abraham was I am. Justification, defense. Father will cover me no matter what. So, but under the constitutional right of the Fourth Amendment, I have the right to protect myself, and so do you. We all have that constitutional right. If you assert it and they violate it, well, that happens. You know, this used to could. Never heard that? Used to could? Well, I used to could. People are very, they don't know that they're a corporation, and they have been merchandised, and they're a child, and they haven't been severed, and they've been contracted by birth, and they bonded them, and they sell their labor on the New York Stock Exchange, the corporation America. Yeah, so we're not supposed to add balls or planets or jots or tittles or yods or even, yes, not a word, not a letter, not a period, not a sentence, not a thought, not a jot. How about that? Idolatry, your own thought is pornea. That's your demon. If you tell somebody else your own lies or ideas that are lies to his jots, that's antichrist, Satanist, and false teaching. Anything outside of the exact scriptures that were defined or defiled, and you're cheating, and you're raping his a-holes, right? There's no A's in Greek, so I's or O's, inserting letters. And he said, don't add a period or a jot. And you're adding, why do people add vowels to Hebrew? Oh, his name is Yeshua, Yahweh, Yahweh, Rahim, Hamashiach. Okay, I know those values, but why are you adding letters? He said, don't add A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, J. Z wasn't the last letter added to the alphabet. If you ask anybody walking down the street in America, they'll tell you that Z was the last letter added to the alphabet. So, kind of twisted. That's the Hebrew word forward. It says warp speed. Oh, watch it there, Biggie. Your tail's going to knock over the live stream. This big old tail. So, the right of self-defense. Man, it's hard to not talk. It's hard to... Well, that's still your constitutional God protected. They gave this member one nation under God. I don't care what you believe. You'll pass through the book no matter what. That seventh shofar shall sound, and all will pass. When the great... For Oligos, fear not, he said, Oligos, find the straight gate. I mean, they're called Oligos are chosen, right? And the rest of everybody, they go to hell and gnash teeth. So that's how it goes. Agape, idolatry, pornea. Or anything else is lukewarm, and we know he'll vomit you from his mouth. He don't like, yeah, that's toxic too. You know, your body excretes all these things because it needs to rid itself of its talk. It's a pretty awesome system he made, like virology. Let me put in just the tip. Well, no, that's not virology. autoimmunity. My bad. That's kind of like, they want to get everybody to bow to the altar in Java for that wasn't what happened. That was a messenger, like an angelos. No, not that kind. MNRA. What do you think the M stands for? And all right, never mind. We're getting off topic. You have the right to defend yourself from a government that's going to try to stick you, right? Stand in the X, go inside, flatten the curve. Oh, hey now. Hold on there. Don't try to boost me. I don't need an update. An update. It's a messenger, right? It's a spike protein is what it is. Your body's DNA, mRNA. Hey, that's starting to sound familiar. They were actually going to call it that, but then they didn't like it, so they went with the messenger. All right, we're not going to do that. See, he said don't add a jot. They started adding to your DNA and creating, remember virology? Put in just the tip. Any ladies in here that ever work out for you? Well, the guy didn't have to ask you that, but we have a horrible efficacy in virology, just so you know. That takes, long term. Well, you start with short and kind of the guinea pig of the world, it's like, we'll just do it in 8 months. The heck with 12 years. We'll just do it in warp speed. Remember that whole virus, the Vidco 2.0. Here we go. And warp speed or Starlink. I don't know. You tell me. They called it Star Wars when I was younger. Remember Reagan and his Nancy with the Adam's apple? They all have Adam's apple. It's just whether they shave them off or not. So, most of them, you ought to take a look at gander at their portions, like portion control in the restaurant industry. We're different portion. I'm a veteran. Women are portioned completely different than men. Let me see your pelvic bone. No, I'm just saying, if you're like, you could put on a pearl necklace and carry around a little chainmail purse and identifies you're Mr. Thunberg, like Al Gore and Mr. Thunberg, right? So, and they throw you in the ground and dig you up 1,000 years from now and say, hey, that's a dude, that's a man. And you can't hide what Father created. So, well, Ross, let's be real about this. Nobody wants to talk about an executive order is illegal, against the Constitution. Congress makes the laws, not the president. So presidents don't make law. Remember, it's repugnant if it's not adjudicated through House, Congress, and Senate. All of this is not, there's a difference between legal and lawful. So everybody's just, ooh, do. One constitutional court, judicial court in the Americas, operating under the Title 18 original House, Congress, and Senate Title 18 statutes. Everything else has been revised when they turn it into a corporation. That's why you get revised statute. All these, wherever you're in California revised statute. You're in Oregon, it was CRS. You're in Washington, WRS. They're going to charge you with these revised statutes that were added later, after the constitutional republic was changed into a corporation. The Washington District of Criminals wrote it to the Queen, this blood contract by birth, your merchandise, and they sell you birth bond certificate, treasury on your certified by your parents, you blood contracted you to the doctor, snakes up the pole. By birth. People don't want to act like it's happening, but it's happening for how long? Who knows? Yeah, you don't know your left testicle from your right one, do you? You can take these ones and let them out of here. So anyway, so your constitutional right under the Fourth Amendment, you have the right to protect yourself from illegal prosecution. That would be affirmative defense or justification defense or excused defense. Like I was, again, there's a difference between legal and lawful. The Constitution is protected. Remember, Constitution, the Congress makes the law, the democratic process, voting, that we're not a democracy. Serfdom is what we have now in America, where Trump, just takes over, or take Greenland and his buddy Joe Biden and his other buddy Barack Obama. Means I saw lightning, but they're all the same cheeks to the same hole, wings to the same dragon. Whether they're Democrat or Republican, they're not any different. They're govern. It means to control mente or mind, or mental, control your mind. These people got to hit them with the mind control. You know, they love it. They love their train. They love to ride the train all the way into the abyss. So he said, my people shall perish for like abyss. They'll go to the abyss. That's where they're going to go. And most people don't have any abyss, and that's why he said they shall perish for like abyss or busos or bathos, but they don't know what those words mean because they don't define. Their translators, and they go after a transgender god, and he doesn't want us to go after balls or gods or coming in here. So, all right, anyways, moving on with your right under the Constitutional. Most people are just corporations, and they're just slave labor to their bond, the merchant number, and they follow the yellow brick road, and their straw man is their capital letter name that they charged under any Title 18 crime, whether federal or state. It's a big clown show is what it is. It's a kangaroo court. You've heard that term, but it's merchant law, and it was an old law, and it's back to the king or queen. So, but they get sold out, and they do their good 8 hours a day sleep, and they're afraid of the dark, and nobody was ever afraid of the dark, and nobody ever slept for 8 hours. This is just this modern walls that you can't see. Now they'll do walls that you can't see because there'll be millimeter walls and millimeter bowls and 15-minute Super Bowls. Super smart Trump, right? Remember, he's got his uncle's smart waves millimeter that Tesla had. That, remember, I can grab energy right out of the ether. Hey, did you hear the upper atmosphere collapse? Hey, we can grab energy out of the ether now. What do you know? Out of the upper atmosphere. Wow. What do you know? Oh, hey, that one charge could go over 1,000 miles. Sticky Muskrat, he can't even go 500 miles. I know they're suppressing they're like, yeah, they were just going to wait until they will do this pit ritual, the compression event, the super cycle, and they won't know. We'll get in the ground. We'll tell them we're going to space, as they're all building their underground facilities. Oh, we're going to go into the clock above our head. Outer. They're out of their minds. It's froward is the Hebrew word. They're perverted. And he said don't add a jot, so that would be warp or twist or chain or add. Pornea is the Greek word to add lies to your eyes, to yourself, to your idols. You like dirt, everything, little ones and big dirt statues and towers and 58-story Manhattan towers in Babylon. Babylonian towers in Manhattan or Trump Tower, 58-story. Wait a minute. Satan's tower is 58 stories. Why is Trump's tower 58 stories? Same dicks. Phallic's, the Washington Monument, the phallic in the steeple on the church. Mary, you destroy where you don't dwell in houses made by hands. Isn't that a beautiful thing? All right, we're supposed to be teaching about the right of defense. Well, you're going to suffer if you stand for the constitutional republic is long gone. Long ago, but you have to, and Father will cover you. Are you a corporation? Judge that shall be judged. So if you go by the corporation, when you stand before Father, he's like, well, I stood against the corporation, the halakha. The Pharisees made their big boy club, taxing everybody. Remember, he didn't like taxes. He turned over the money changer tables, and he fastened the corning off the curtains and whipped the people selling the doves. Remember, and I'm not telling you he said this is a meek testament, right? Meek, it shall be meek. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is meek. They're all waiting for the smoke to come out the stack. Yeah, the pit ritual. Remember, it says that the smoke will rise out of the pit. So out of the abyss. So I'm burning this, with the fire, bringing the fire here to you, feeding the meat. This offering we're here is not because we have to. This is what Father tells us if you love him, you have to share the light. You can't hide it in a basket or behind a bushel. That's what he said. Put it at the top of your house. Not pride. That's one above another, like a 58-story tower. Father doesn't like cities and capitalism. No, he does not. Narrow is the way. Not communism, but, more, narrow is the way, he said. Country roads, baby. Country is the way. Get the hell out of the city. You've been microwaved. You're just sitting in a microwave. That's what you're doing. You don't know what a microwave is. A millimeter wave, a frequency wave. Remember, waves, like sound waves. I'm on a Mexican radio. All right. Hey, I wish I was in Tijuana. That'd be good right now, huh? eat barbecue. All right, never mind. There's another version, but we won't go there. All right, thank you. For tacos, anybody tacos? Let's change the subject up. We can always change any chat with the word tacos. I've done it hundreds of times for decades, even back on web TV. Tacos, huh? All right. It's a game changer. You could do it. You could take a whole stadium, turn the lights out. Everybody goes, oh, silence, please. They come on the radio. Tacos. And the crowd goes wild. Oh, Trouser Trout. Careful, he's got fish tacos in here. All right, show us your Taco Tuesday. Send them to my Predestined4light Gmail picture. Show us your Taco Tuesday. Oh, that was yesterday. Well, I only eat tacos on days that end in Y. So, all right, let's keep them G-rated here, ladies. All right, this gentleman, show us your Taco Tuesday. Well, you missed that yesterday, but let's talk about it. All right, moving on. Whatever. I've done this. Hey, there's two kinds of people who, on this rock. People eat 3 meals a day to stay alive. And there's some people we're just here to eat. So, hallelujah. I'm so tired, man. I don't want to eat anything out of a box bag can ever again. Father, help me, please. I don't ask him for help very much. I really don't ask. I ask for his will. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. He already knows what's going to happen anyways. He already created all things. So there's no such thing as free will. And there's no such thing as luck. So under the right of affirmative defense, you have the right to protect yourself under the 4th Amendment, under the constitutional right to be secure in your houses, Title 18. Remember, that's the subsection that, no, it's not a sub-revised. That's the original adjudicated through the House, Congress, and Senate. If somebody's going to intrude on your property, your houses, your purses, your papers, and effects under this constitutional right, they have to have a search warrant signed by a judge where and who they're going to search. I don't care who it is. And if they're going to, that's just the way she girds, boys. If they come on your property, you can't just shoot them. But if you do think that you have to announce and, you don't have to actually, let's not go into the technicalities. If you feel they're going to cause harm, threat to your property, houses, persons, papers, or effects, even under this new covenant, because God used to require, it was eye for an eye. Somebody came, broke into your house, you can go sneak in their house and, if somebody came and killed your brother, you can go kill his brother. It was eye for an eye, but not under this covenant. He said, but you can defend yourself. He didn't say somebody come in and just let your wife get raped or somebody hurt your animals or your probably that. See, the right of self-defense, that's your 4th Amendment right to protect yourself. You have a 2nd Amendment, you should first use like a cop. They're supposed to use their 1st Amendment and say under the use of force regulation, they're supposed to, not just go straight to deadly force like what they did to me. So what part of shall not be infringed do you not understand? It's kind of crazy that you buy a piece of property and you have to ask permission to build a house on your property. What kind of free? This isn't free, brothers and sisters. If you, and I'm trying to tell you right now, I'm not, you do whatever the hell you think your 10 toes need to be standing. America is the most unsafe nation to be in right now. I don't care what you think. They have a heavily armed group of alphabet soup agency, federal agents from the Federal Bureau of Imbeciles to the top of the Department of Jackoffs or whatever they are. They're all a bunch of alphabet soup and they're a corporation, but they're still armed. And just like any one of these clown cop pigs, commerce cops, they'll shoot you dead. I know I used to do this as well myself, and it was much different, but it was still not right. This has been a constitutional republic long gone. It is a corporation, and there is no actual crimes being committed in this country. They're all crimes of commerce. That's why they charge you under that capital letter name under these Title 18 revised statutes. These were added after this was changed from a constitutional republic to a corporation. It's not complicated. It's unbelievable it's gone on for so long, but it does not even matter that it's not happened. It is happening. It's currently going on right now. And unless they charge you in that Article 3, right, under in a judicial court, there's 3 article courts, right? There's the first article court, which is that's not judicial. It's an administrative. There's a third, that's a judicial court, and that's the only court where there's only one location in this America where they actually, and they would have to be charging you under the Title 18, whether it's federal or state, and a fourth administrative, which is also it's territorial administrative. It's a not judicial. They're not practicing any judicial law. This is all under this now corporation. You just don't know your constitutional rights. You don't know what's going on. Most people don't. How have law scholars not figured this out? I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it's still not happening. You know, we've had how many military bases? 180 countries, 1,000 plus. And under this new covenant, we shouldn't have one. And it's still going on. And that was 2,600 years ago. Father, 2,600 years ago said, bring it. He would have had military bases all over that, you know, because you could, you know, the war was fire. Father was shofar. Remember, David declared him the Lamb of God. That makes him the God of fire. War, blood, sacrifice, Aleth. Remember, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Father required his heavens, his favorite class, Aaron and Levite, to war with the, you might, McCulloch, Strong, 10-volume set, read all the heavens, the Israel, and all that. You can find it in the Old Testament where, remember, that heavenly army, 7,000 man annihilated that 120,000 man earthly army, and people think heaven's above their head and earth's below their feet. See, it's so easy to trick people. You can do something like that. People think God's in the sky. Well, they can get away with something like this for how long? Does anybody know? I can tell you they took us off the bimetallic standard in the 1700s, did they not? Yeah, to control this, put this on this, you know, gold standard where you can't control both these two precious metals that compete God's money against themselves. Paper's not money. That's an IOU. It's I think it was J.P. Rockefeller or J.P. Chase Morgan said there's gold and silver and everything else is credit. You know, it's just an IOU, kind of like they pulled, hey, give us this, let us take your money. We'll give you gold and silver certificates, no clanking around in your pocket. And you don't trust the system. Pull your money out of the bank and we'll you know, that's the way it was. Remember, put your money in, put your gold in the vault here, we'll protect it after World War II. You know, no, those weren't Jews over there, by the way, because these are spiritual and it's all flesh, not someplace over in Israel. I rebuke that. That's nonsense. Well, paper is just a scapegoat for the new slavery. No, we already left paper. Only like most people pay with plastic. You know what I'm saying? They're going digital. This whole thing is going to where they have the money and then they have control over people by taking all their rights, communism, and making it digital communism where they can literally Sesame credit score you, not Sesame Street. They did this in China where they made it a phone app. And, that's the way it's going to go because they made digital get down. This is where they're going. It just comes down to credit scoring everything and then digitizing and blockchaining everything so they can digitally control and track everything on this rock. So you can't pay the neighbor to mow your lawn. Little girl comes over to babysit or something, or, you know, babysit your child or something. You're not going to, you know, be able to do these things anymore. Go to yard sale. Everything will be digitally tracked and traced on the blockchain. So, and then they'll have money. Their money, you know, like I said, paper currencies are not money. Money is gold and silver. So what did Jeff say here? We know where they're going. They're going. Come on, Jeff. They've got to keep these things. Remember, let's get back to that, guys, too, because this is about to go what I don't care. I'm not, let's just call theory to protect the channel. Just whatever. It's all theory. We don't know nothing. We're just a bunch of idiots in here just mumbling a bunch of new mystery psycho babble or something, right? You know, work camps, 15-minute super drills. Look, you guys keep forgetting that this weakened magnetosphere, the one thing they're not telling the populace right now is that this cycle of this magnetosphere, just this compression event's going to happen. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. You know, what do you think created all this oil on this rock? That a compression event. Bone stone turned to oil. There must have been hell of Stegosaurus. We still ain't run out of oil yet. I ain't see no monkey fossils if they're still apes, right? Why? How do we evolution? No, like, come on. The compression event was everything, bones, forests, everything at one time, you know. I don't even go into the basics of some of this stuff. Is not that complicated, you know, people, but they do this ball trick and they lose them in these, there's models, they do these, you know, spinning around on a water ball, you know, on flying over a plane and they never nose down. And I don't do shapes. We talked about that here. Don't do that. You're going to you're thrown out of here. I don't sit there and play childish, talk about, you know, little square pegs and you're going to shove this in that round hole. And it's all throughout. Do you know what strata is? Do you know any of the ice core data? Have you looked at the way this rock is layered in? Man, there's so much information. You could just, I mean, hell, you got so many avenues. You don't even have to be on the interweb. It's in, I don't know, paleoclimatology. Do you know anything about that field line of study? Study that, and you'll see what I'm saying. You'll give you all the like an ice cream sandwich, baby, if you will. Okay. Sometimes I forget. My son had to remind me. He's like, Dad, all you've ever done is study, and you know, you just, not like you're talking over people, but you got to forget. Dad, people don't have your study. You need to put it in a simpler form so people can understand what you're saying. You know what you know, but they don't know what you know, and you want to share it, but you just talk right over people's heads sometimes. So I apologize. Look up paleoclimatology, and you'll see all the, again, you know, all the rift zones. And I don't do all this. There's so many stupid models that make no sense, and that's okay. They're just, you know, science is the disputing the constant by theory. Scientific theory is, you know, making nothing is constant. You know, the only thing is constant is the word of the Father. Everything else we should dispute that and go remember what the book of Timothy tells us as well. That's why this channel, that's why we have this. It's a refiner's fire. Back to gold and silver, baby. God's money is gold and silver, and it's never gone to zero. When they throw their gold and silver in the streets, they're already throwing monster boxes in, you know, Iraq and Kuwait and, you know, Gaza and, you know, all these Ukraine on people, you know, in smart missiles, cruise missiles, Patriot missiles. These are all thousands of monster box or more in some of these smart missiles right on the top of children and veterans. And yeah, so people waiting to, oh, it's going to not be worth anything. You're an idiot. You think an idiot is, you know, an idiom, and that's not the same thing. And people are idiots, so I can't help them. They're not educated, and that's what ignorance does to a man, and that's okay. Or a woman, that's the same thing. An ignoramus is an idiotos. They're the same thing. So can't help somebody if they don't know, or yes, you can't hold it against them. That's not their fault. So don't get them mad at them. Well, they get mad at you if you call them an idiot, right? How many people you think you walk up and, you know, and if they were not educated in that field, lame, simple, uneducated, unskilled, unlabored man or woman, that if you called them an idiot, they wouldn't be offended. Yes, they would. They don't know what the word definition means of idiot, and 99% of what these idiots that walk this rock, 98%, 90%, 98.9, 99 are idiots that walk the rock when it comes to the book, like even Hebrew or Greek, or who the sun god was, and who, like Esau, and just some of the basic lineage, you know, of like, to simplify it, Father didn't love everybody. He only loved the house of Aaron and Levi. It only applied to the Jews. He didn't love the Gentiles. No, God loves everybody. Yeah, I know. Now you're going to tell me what's in your heart. It says the heart is continuously filled with wickedness. But most people, oh, no, God, I got to believe in Jesus and I'll be saved. John 3:16. Believe is not a thought in your head. It's not a noun. That's faith is a noun. And you know, we have to have our loins girded in his service. He said, belief is a verb. So we're not, no, if I just be saved. People think you can't be saved. There's no such thing as being saved. You already bought and paid and purchased. You're a purchased possession. And he said, I'm a redeemed. You know, if you take and you buy some, not like a game like Red Dead Redemption, right? These people, you know, he bought and came back 2 days later, that's the word redemption. You know, like a ticket, if you got two at a carnival, the red and the blue and the whatever, you're going to get two numbers, and that he already has you names will be called out in that book. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 8, 9, 10, you know, there's no on a ticket, right? 7, 8, 9. Oh, wow, that's me. Yeah, you were already bought and paid for. You're going to do what he tells you. So you can't be saved. You have to endure to the end to be saved. People think they can be saved. Oh, I got saved. No, you didn't. I came to Father. No, you didn't. He said, if I did not call out to their hearts to seek after me, not one of them would. I don't care how old you think this rock is. You're not going to bring anybody to Jesus. You're not no man, no pastor, or, or deacon or reverend or whatever, man standing in the pulpit. Even you should be, professing this gospel. He said, don't boast because you know, but woe if you don't. This is not something that most people are even aware exists. They know this peace Jesus. They know this other Jesus that Paul said. You tell every Christian that I've ever told that I've known, there's two Jesus, and they're going to argue with you. This is why my son came to me at 10, 11 years old and said, Dad, when I talk to people about, about God and, Christ, the Christians, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't know anything. But when I talk to people who say they don't believe in God, they say they're atheists, they can talk about it and they know more. These people don't know anything. And these people are supposed to be believers in God. And these people say they don't, but they actually, I said, Elijah, they figured out, remember we talked about that he doesn't dwell in houses made by hands and our body's a temple. So they don't want to associate themselves with a denomination. Oh, no, I'm not a Christian. I'm agnostic. Like, oh, no, because they have their own relationship. You don't care what the world thinks about you. You can tell someone, oh, I don't believe in God, and people leave you alone. And you can have a personal relationship. And then, but see, that's not truly how this gospel works, that people aren't outgoing. That's why Paul said, not only will they come, speaking of another Jesus, but another gospel. Under this gospel, we have to share this light. If you see somebody in the narrow way, we are supposed to bring them to light. Not pride, like raise above it. We show them through the scriptures. We righteously move them to the word through the word. We don't do, like, there's a difference between being a teacher and a preacher. A preacher is when the word moves you, okay? And a teacher is, he said, call no man teacher. I don't care, what I don't like the word preacher, because then you think of Catholics and they get kitty touched, like Mr. 46 and, Mr. 47 and Mr. 44 and Mr. 43 and Mr. 42 and Mr. 41. Yeah, they're all in that club. They go to the island. But anyways, it's not right to ever put hands on children, brothers and sisters. It's not. He said, better have a millstone tied around your neck, or remember, cause one of mine to stumble, right? Put it and be cast into the sea, then hurt one hair. And he knows the numbers of hair. I don't care if you shave your head, like I shaved it since I'm in the military. He knows the number of hairs on our head. You're not going to, he has this bought and chose and paid, you're not going to fool them. So a lot of people go out and try to cause, stifle, stumble, that's not, these people's measure will be poured out on these people. That's why he tells us under this covenant to be meek. He used to have a favorite. He used to have war. He used to have fee. He used to have fine. He used to have celebration. All that is being fulfilled. All the covenant of the old, of prophecy, physical laws, all this is blotted out in the handwriting of ordinances in the book of Colossians 2 and 14. And he stood against their perverted law. And he expects us through this suffering gospel, through the thalipsis, through the tribulation, through the fire, like a refiner's fire, like gold and silver, we are to be refined. And it's go listen to Brother Jim's teaching on clay, and we are in the clay, age of clay. Daniel said these ages, remember, to the king, he made these every time that got less and less hardened. And we are here in the age of clay because we are in the book of Revelation. People don't want to understand that. That's fine. They believe that God's in the sky and heaven's in the sky and dead people go to the sky and space. They believe in something called space, and it doesn't say anything about space. You look at the book of Psalms, it says the heavens declare the glory of God, and it's talking about his ruling class. The firmament declares his handiwork. Those are two separate things. People can't even decipher the difference between heavens and the firmament. So that's why they're going to think God's in the sky, and they believe in the word rapture. And I know very soon they're going to do this. And I know, whatever, I'm not going to get in front of this. I'm not trying to change what they're going to do. But if you have a effect, what I'm going to call, not like the butterfly or Mandela effect, but the placebo effect is a very strong, you got to be careful what you say. You can speak into a plant that, oh, I hate you. You're terrible. And it's going to not have, might grow, but it's just going to barely, I love you. You're so beautiful. You're my favorite plant, my flower that grows up out the dirt. Oh, right. And it's going to flourish. You can breathe into a rice, a jar of rice, and say horrible things, and the rice will mold. You can say something nice, and the rice doesn't mold. This is an effect that's very real. This is how they're running this whole system right now, whether you understand it or not. Oh, it's being run by AI. Shut up. There's no such thing as AI. You're an idiot. You're an antichrist idiot is what you are. There's computers, but computers don't learn. They did that already, and they gave a computer rights because they thought it was alive. These people are far from, attached from their reality of quantum physics and quantum computing, and how this is a system of, zeros and ones. You're turning zeros and ones into something that's alive. I mean, it's ridiculous how far people have gone into their own space farce, and this is what we do every single time. So that's why Father fulfilled all these celebrations, rituals, prophecies, healing, and all this was all fulfilled under the old covenant. And we're not to do any of these things, because we're going to go right back to doing what we always do, and they're doing it again. Even though he made that covenant 2,600 years ago, people thought in World War II that those were Jews. It was a spiritual Jew 2,600 years ago. People think now, when it says in the book Israel, in the book of Revelation, it's talking about that place that it was in the Old Testament. No, he said all flesh, Jew, Gentile, man, woman, good, evil, black, brown, white, red, and yellow, all flesh, but not everybody. But no, God loves everybody. See, you can't change a goat into a sheep, brothers and sisters. It's not possible. Okay, listen, your bishop's an idiot. Please, I don't mean to talk down, but we're not under the covenant. He fulfilled all the rituals and celebrations. He became the sacrificial lamb. There was no Easter. It was Passover. And remember, if you didn't have your blood or on your doorway with that sacrifice of the lamb on your headdress or your address, he would not. There was 5 shekels. You had to be, that fulfilled all these fees and fines. And remember, he turned over the money changer tables and whipped the people selling the doves. You got to get this. People just adding your own versions. Look, I'm not pointing at anybody here. This is what the world does. And he said, be in the word, not in the world. Be in it, but be not of it. Stay in the word, brothers and sisters. The word is what sets us not free, because we're not. We're not enslaved to this system. He will pour the just measure out, and anybody who wronged you, he will right you and heal. Remember, that is the word to be saved, salvation. We have to endure to the end to be saved. That's to be picked up. You need to define what you're saying. Carried, lifted, beginning point. Yes. Anybody who hurts you, he will heal. Anybody who takes, he will pour out a just measure on all of us. We are not to go after anybody under this covenant. We seek no vengeance. We allow him to fight all our battles. We can protect ourselves under the Constitution, under his right. He doesn't want you to get just run over. He didn't say weak. He said meek. Love is meek. And you need to be patient with it. It's hard. I know. The world is just gone. It's diseased. Famine and pestilence is disease. There'll be wars and rumors of wars. Famine and pestilence, it's of that word, brothers and sisters. The heavens will be heavens. Earthquakes. Earth is the ruled. Stop adding to his word. This is what people do. So let's go back again to what we were saying. Under this testament, we are not to we're not to go and try to go back to the old laws of flesh. He made all these covenants, like he became the sacrificial lamb. They did not eat crackers and grape juice. That's Satanism, Catholicism, Christianity, Calvinism, Mormonism, all these isms. There's no prophecy. He became the last prophet. When he prophesied that no stone would be left upon another, he'd had the physical temple destroyed, and every nation, that building in that nation was pummeled into little gravel, brothers and sisters, and then they plowed salt in the land, if you remember, because they didn't go into the wilderness and scout out the Anunnaki, the giants. This is modern day Gaza. That's why Mr. Trump is going, oh, we're going to buy Gaza. And we don't do politics. I don't do that in this channel. We watch what was going on. History's being made every day. And history's not in a book, brothers and sisters. That's the victor gets the spoils. So you might want to be a witness. He said he'd send two of them. It's that thief that hangs right there on your, yep. He said, I come quickly, let no one take your crown. Revelation 3:11, brothers and sisters. 2 kings, 2 crowns. One has the key to the pit. That's the abyss. That's no knowledge. So he literally destroyed all the celebrations. He became the sacrificial lamb. The Last Supper, they ate lamb, not Peeps or Cadbury eggs or candy. They used to bake hot cross-top buns to Ishtar, Semiramis, the wife of Satan. That's where all your candy comes from, all your dyeing of the eggs and sex and fertility. That's all the wife of Satan. This is Baphomet. This is this Sumerian tribes to the north. Remember, Father split the kingdom. He split the kingdom. That's bis. That's the word bis. It says, my people shall perish for lack of busos. The Greek word is busos, B-U-S-O-S, or B-A-T-H-O-S, bathos. The English is abyss. It says abyss. Revelation 9:11 says they have a king over them. Okay? That king is the angelos, or messenger, the messenger of the abyss. That is what Apollyon, the one Trump has his house decorated. It was Mithra, was called Mithra at the time of Rome, at the time of Christ in the 12th century. That's what they called Apollyon, the one that Donald Trump has his house decorated. He had a 58-story tower. So does Donald Trump. Why? You tell me. He's not the 7th king. Everybody, oh, Trump's the Antichrist. You're an idiot. Trump was not the 7th king. The 7th king in Scripture tells us would be revealed as the 8th king. So people are like, but he decorates his house with the 7th king. So that's the one that's locked up in Revelation 9:11. People are lost in space. Balls in the sky. God's in the sky. This is exactly why he divorced his bride Israel. They thought the sun was dying at the equinox in 923, and they had these Samhain rituals, pagan rituals, where they turned this paganism into what we now know as Christianity or Catholicism, where Constantine thought he was going to lose his empire to these Gothic Vandal tribes that were going after these Baphomet, Baal in the grove. Baal worship is sun worship. Grove is tree, or Semiramis is the star, like Ishtar at the equal. That's the 323, the 923, 323, and then 623 and 1223 at the birth of Satan, their son God, Jesus Christ, born in a manger in the middle of the winter. That's who, people don't. Christ didn't have breasts. Christ didn't have flesh. Oh, Christ did have flesh. He said his father said to him, birthed him a flesh vessel, because he didn't have it. He was light. He would visit one day a year behind the veil. Father is horizo. That's what he said. Start calling him that. He said, I am the horizo, right? That means I'm the separator. I'm the divider of the light, the day and the night, the dark and the light. I predestined my bride. I enslaved them in their flesh, and I pull them to their light. So, to my light. Remember, he is undefiled. You're only going to find him through transliteration, by definition, by studying cultures, customs. You're not going to find him. He said, I am the aletheia. Well, we don't have to worry about any of that. I mean, he could give a comment, but under this covenant, remember, Mary had declared that Christ had risen, that neatly folded mass, the Jewish tradition of the slave master, the Jewish, the slave would sit there in the shadows waiting for the master to finish his meal. And if he was done, he'd wad his napkin up and pile it in just a big wad. And if he was going to return, he's going to, maybe go take a, I don't know, he got business. Maybe he had one of his ladies or something. He had come back and he put elitely accordion fold that napkin to show that he was going to return. And Christ left that resurrection, veil, that they'd veiled him after they had hung him from a tree. Like it tells us in the book of Acts, if you knew anything about Roman torture, you'd know that he was not and did not carry and was not hung on a cross. That's blasphemy. I rebuke you. You watch too much idolism. You watch maybe some crazy old man on YouTube or some young whippersnapper who thinks he knows something. And, you need to define it. You need to study these cultures' customs. There's other things such as an idiom and an idiot are two totally separate things. There's parables. The book is full of translations that they, at the time of the canonization in Rome in the 12th century, that I told you that these vandals were trying to, Constantine was killing Christians and slaughtering, and so were these northern tribes. They were going after this Baal in the Grove worship, and he thought he was going to lose his empire, and he said, hey, we need to do something quick. We're going to make up this toleration edict, and we'll have people like today, modern, and Mr. Trump switching it back. Didn't say nothing on his first thing, but now he's switching back. That's Giannis. That's the two-faced joker like he always does. They're all in on it. Hold on. You let these dogs out. Hold on. You guys are in and out today. You guys stay out there. It's nice. Yeah, better get off here soon. After you get this lesson taught and stop being all this. Man, it's hard not to talk about this. All right. Okay, so this edict of toleration, in the you can look this up. This is scriptural. I don't like the word Bible because that's the word book. That's what this is. This is a book. This is the only book that you should be studying. Anything else, if you don't have this book right here, throw it away. It's rubbish. Burn it. It's trash. Use it for start your fire. You got a wood burner, a wood stove. You self-sufficient. You off the grid. You making your own. Government hates when you grow your own tomatoes. All right. Not government, people in government. He tells us don't sup with swine, pigs, because we got to go back to that covenant, that we're not under the covenant of celebration, ritual. We're not under these covenants of having any laws of flesh. It was blotted out in the handwritings of ordinances in the book of Colossians 2 and 14. Okay, read your testaments, old, new. Stay out of these other books that weren't canonized, because at the Edict of Toleration in this same time, Constantine took 150. This is called the Edict of Toleration. The first one, we're going to go back to that. Then we'll go to where they actually did the canonization, and you can get to make sure you're reading a book in the 12th century where they took all the words out and defined them. Remember, I told you translation is not transliteration. Literally, transliteration means you're not leaving the definition in the original lexicon. And in this book, it's Greek and Hebrew. You can one word study by the number. These books have this book. This is a book that's called Bible. There's rejected texts that were taken out. Well, I guess we'll do the canonization first. They're rejected because they lack definition. They came and took 150 Christians. Yep, your Strong's Concordance. This is code of the Strong's Concordance. I have that over there. Where did I move it? All right, I was looking, doing a different study the other day here, but this means you can take the word out like judgment. People say, oh, you're not supposed to judge. Well, under the Old Testament, the laws of, do not judge. Well, under this covenant, we are supposed to use the word to lead people to the narrow way. And we do not condemn, we judge with righteous judgment. There's just one example. If you'll just read the word judge or judgment, you can actually study and find, oh, it's written 15 times in your concordance in that number. That's why it has that number above that word. That concordance takes the word out and it says whoever said it, and it puts in that in separate sentence in that book. It's like cheating. And you use that, as I said, as a cheat code. You take that and you take that back to the original. Oh, I don't know where everything's. I'm not Jim Brown and a walking at Grace and Truth Ministries, a walking concordance. He's the whole book separate. He can pull all the sentence out and they're in his head, and they can tell if it's feminine gender, neuter gender, male gender, whatever the base root, of the phonics and remember your grammar and all your punctuation. He's literally just unbelievable, but he has 40 years of studying. I've got about 30, and it's a lot of, it takes time to come to this abyss. It's like the process of repentance and salvation and baptism. It's all part of this. Imagine for just a moment, if you will, not being under this salvation, not being under repentance, not being under baptism. So all glory, I didn't show you. Father did it. Blame it on him. Don't blame it on me, please. I didn't do this. He's the wind in my sail. You know what I'm saying? All glory to Shiloh. It's part of the ministry. Please share this with others. It's so nice to know that you're actually reading something that was the best, closest you're going to get. This was an old Jewish book here. This Greek book was canonized, where again they had 150 Christians. I'm not a denomination, 150 Catholics, and they defined the words using the lexicon. They came to words because of the change. Remember the time that this happened in the original Hebrew, and then they came to words that they could not find the definition, and they translated them. This is what he tells us not to do, to their best of their abilities. So some people, because a lexicon dictionary in the Hebrew is different than a lexicon in the Greek. How? But it's the definition, Pastor. Well, I didn't make the definition back then. I didn't make the definition now. This is going to be the best of, there you go. There's how you're going to find all your study tools. That is the best study tool you can have. That's the best study tool you can have, is your interlinear Textus Receptus. It's accepted text because it was canonized. Words were taken out and defined one word at a time. That's it. I mean, you can't study anything any better. That's why anything else, it's not even close. And there's a reason why these rejected texts, I'm not saying you can't read these, but I keep your face out of anything into these 66 books until you can speak, like Brother Jim says, a little bit of Greek, oligos, a little bit of Greek, and maybe a little bit of Hebrew. You don't need to know a bunch, but so you can understand what these books mean. It'll start to come to you. Remember, seeking you shall find, asking you shall receive, knock and I will come up with you, is what he said. Correct? So this is not for me to do. I give all glory to Shiloh, and I thank Brother Jim Brown for telling me that I lack fellowship. Otherwise, this channel wouldn't have been created. He put the word on me. He said, look, I don't want to hear it. I got to go. We were talking for about an hour and a half or a couple hours. We were on there for a while, and he said, look, you're lacking fellowship. You can make, excuse, but you need to, iron sharpens iron, brother, sister. So thank you, Brother Jim Brown. So go see him. And once you get these books, what you can do is you can slow down, and he'll help Brother Jim. What I say is unlearn at Grace and Truth Ministries, unlearn your bad teachings, your self-teachings, all these things you didn't do properly. And that's okay. We learn from, like a refiner's fire. It pushes the impurities. He does that out of us. It beats us like clay, the ones he loves. He does. He puts pressure on us from both sides, and friends hate us, and the world hates us, and our family hates because we don't do. You'll find you'll probably fit in. It will feel like a, I don't want to say perfect, but it'll feel like, a nice hand in a glove. It'll feel like this was a tailored fit for you, because it feels good, because you can, all glory to Shiloh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We can unlearn and then relearn. And then when we put something in, that's, I am the Petra, knock. He's not sand. Remember, he said, don't build your house on seeking sand, brothers, sisters. So you need to go back to your base. There's nothing better than starting to go back to the base. That's why Brother Jim and, helped me, like what I already knew, but he helped me to stop being lazy. I call it lazy study. It's easy. You can, honestly, I'm telling you, you could just sit down and just watch Jim Brown for the rest of your life. And I don't want to say that you might learn more by not putting your face in this book, because you need to keep these books and keep reading them and sup with him like word study. And it's something he'll draw you to a study. When I was young, I used to just open up and, don't do it that way, Rose says. That's a good way to start, but, Father will lead you. If you watch Jim Brown at Grace and Truth Ministries, there's something that he said that's always gets me. That's what's always got with me with Brother Jim Brown when he was radio and television, and now, the internet at graceandtruth.net, is that where something he said, and then I would go research that, and then, go back, and then you can get his lesson. Hallelujah, man. Thank you, Father. Thank you so much for this ministry. No, that's so it almost brings me to tears, knowing that no matter what, that we've got people that can at least now have a personal relationship, because he says, seek and you shall find. It's this bis that's in this book. He said, my people shall perish for lack of bis. This is your reward. Okay. But it's on your heart. I want to tell you, Jordan, listen, whether you know this or not, and you can't, don't be lazy study. Because like I said, but it's already on your heart. These books are on your heart already, Jordan. They're already on your heart. Seeking you shall find, asking you shall receive, and knock. See, he's drawing you to him. That's why he brought you here. In me, I didn't do this. I don't want any glory for this. I don't want anything. I just want to actually go on the road, and hopefully I don't want to make any plans. I don't want to do anything. I just want to keep sharing the word, because I know if I don't, I'm in serious trouble. I don't ever want to think that I'm not going to, I've often said I'd rather go to hell than to not be with Father. That would be just a waste of all this flesh and time and place. And, but he will. He said, if you change a jot, I'll blot your name out of that book. You know what I'm saying? So the beautiful thing about, about this thing about, with George, is it's on your heart. And if you knock, that's why he says, when you find somebody like Brother Ross, always watch he's overcome by this gospel. You can tell it's on his heart. He doesn't have to think about it. It's on his heart, and it comes out of his mouth. That's just like Brother Jim. That's the beautiful thing, George, but it's going to take some time, and he will reveal. Seeking you shall find, asking you shall receive, knock, and I will come sup with you. He will reveal this. That's revelation. He'll pull the scales from your eyes and show you what was already there. That's the beautiful thing about coming to this gospel now and knowing, because he's inside of us. He said it once was written on tables of stone, the law, the tablets, honor thy father, thy mother, the 10 commandments, the law, 613 statute commandments. They were on tablets of stone and pounded out on rock. And now they're on our hearts. And he did that by making that blood sacrifice for us, that blood baptism for us, for his bride. And we must spiritually, and although the flesh may suffer, we know if it does, that he will heal that pain that we went through. That's what being saved is, to be picked up, carried, lifted from beginning point to an ending point, healed. Isn't that beautiful? It's in his word. And if you just slow down a little bit, I know I go really fast sometimes, but it's just all there. I just get overcome by the gospel, just over in my head. I'm off here. It's just, I'm working, and it's through my head. It's constantly a thing. So, but a lot of that is because of the brother help Jim Brown make me not be so lazy. And what I knew, what I wasn't doing, and my heart was telling me to do, and my head was telling me to do, because he was pulling me to him, I just wasn't doing. And we get like that because we get caught up. It's easy. People, imagine if you didn't have an abundance of time like he gave me and Brother Jim and his studies. You'd barely find time to sit down with this word. When you got a double mortgage and 3 car payments and 2 kids and soccer practice, and you go to some stupid idiotic church, and where do you find time to actually sit down and have a relationship with Father? Because he is the word. Remember, the beginning is the word. That's why he wants you to just talk to him and have a relationship with him. And then when you find people, again, like I said, that in the book of Malachi, that are feeding you the meat, you need to tithe. Brother Jim takes donations. I have a link in the description. I don't want your money. He takes nearly $1 million, I think, a year to run his business. This ministry is paid off, baby. It's paid off. And if I can put housing in, we'll be able to put people here for I'm going to start working that side more too, guys. We're definitely not just sitting around doing nothing out here. So it's an online ministry, just like Grace and Truth Ministries. Like Brother Jim Brown said, in quotes, the internet was invented for Grace and Truth Ministries. So it once, before the COVID could pack the classroom and have people in there in Hendersonville, Tennessee, after people got a little stand on the X scare, he can put hardly sometimes 20 to 30, if that, in that same classroom. And that's still the same, payment for the building. So doing the internet and scaling some of this stuff back too with his advertising has been beautiful for his time, because now it is, as he said, it's a world, all north, east, west, and south. Get with the news. This is all 4 corners of this rock. It's a worldwide ministry. And so what a blessing when people like you, George, come in and I'm sure Brother Jim gets the edification through the ministry too, and bringing that the people are coming to the fold, not because of him, right? Not because of me, not because it's the word that made Brother Jim say that to me. He put the word on me, and we give glory to Shiloh, edify his, lift up Hosanna, raise his, like Lazarus, he raised you from the dead, right? You know, he was in darkness and he will lift you. Remember, like Jonah out of the belly of the whale. You've been there, feeling like you're drowning. You know, it's all in the word, brothers, sisters. He said, purify yourself. And that's what you do by putting yourself more and more in this word, and then supping with those that are in the narrow way. We're not supposed to be hanging out and acting like this is all nice. And no, we're going to be hated because people don't want this tribulation gospel is what it is. It's the narrow way. The only way to the Father is through suffering. It says long suffering. You're not going to be liked by this world. And so when you come to this gospel, man, it fits and it feels like it's a correct fit. So I remember, like I said, when I first found Jim, it was just, it beat me up is what it did for a while. It made me feel very guilty and very lazy and I was still taking in so much at the same time. But that's what the word does to you. That's what, when Father rebukes your heart, he's the one who rebukes your heart, you know, and then you walk in that repentance, and that repentance takes time before he said, all right, now you need to focus and stop relying on your own teaching. Stop adding your own teachings. Yes, you love me. Yes, you use my books, but you're adding. I said, don't add a jot. And so, and reading the book backwards, you know, that'll do it to you too. Read it back, because I was a reconstructionist. The last thing he says, don't even add English, Tracy, period. Don't add a period, okay? Or a planet, anything. So, let's go back over this real quick too. I want to try to pump through this lesson here real quick. We're not under the covenant of any celebrations or rituals. You can eat pork. You can, we're not under the dietary laws. I think it's, Brother Ross, can you tell me here, am I wrong or something? I've gone through this lineage. These Muslims, and we know that the Quran was written by Catholics, but not eating pork, I mean, they believe in infidel. So I know it's their old Jewish. Is there something that I'm missing in the lineage that Muslim, you know, the Muslim that because remember, that's such a vast region. Remember Persia, you know, the sword, the famine, the bear, the lion, the leopard, the bear, and the beast with iron teeth. Why is it that they're like, it's almost like these Hebrew Israelites who are claiming to be from the tribe of Judah, but they're from the tribe of Ham. You know, these people, street preacher out there, oh, you're an Edomite, you're a dad. They don't recognize this new covenant. They might as well be Jews. They might as well be Muslims. They might as well be Christians who celebrate, you know, the birth of the sun god and whatever. But no, you know what I'm saying? A little different. They're kind of just, anyway. What is there something? What am I missing? Why don't these eat? Now I know because it was unclean, and they do some of these Old Testament, you know, yeah, you know, the four horsemen, or there's two riders on the white horse. See, this is the okay, well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, well, see, I understand it. I just it doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to do it from the lineage though, because that's why he gave us the begottens, you know. Aaron begotten Levite first, right? You know, family, right? Not Scottish, right? Like Trump, right? But that lineage chases to, like the Hebrew Israelites are claiming that they're from the tribe of Judah because he was the lion from the tribe of Judah, but it was Ham, Shem, and Japheth. That was, their lineage was from Ham. Not like going ham and not eating ham, pork, but where do Muslims claim to be from the tribe of Aaron or Levite? The Aaron or Levite that fell under that Levitical law, that house, that lineage, that branch. So anyways, we can do this on another study. I've gone in it and I've looked at it and I'm like, where are these people? I guess they just pull, like we said, it all roads lead back to the lion. The lion was Babylon. When it talks about the lion, the leopard, the bear, and the beast with iron teeth, these were all nations. People, oh, there's this beast, it's got all this. People get all surreal and take imagery and start making, oh, there's this animal with the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, you know. Whoa, you know, go see Brother Jim Brown for all this. He will unveil again all these teachings, all the words, every word you just heard. He'll give you the Greek and the Hebrew word for us. That's right, to the Israelites. That's why I'm trying to explain, only this applied to the Gentile nation. No, these laws didn't apply to the Gentile nation. They were not allowed into the church. They weren't allowed. These 613 statutes, commandments did not apply to them. So, okay, now I'm seeing it. Now I guess I was just being a little more, because I remember it was, there were 12 tribes. There were more than one tribe. And, Ham, Shem, Japheth were Noah. That was the tribe of Ham. There were Judah, the two southern, Jeremiah, all the northern tribes to the north. So all leads to Babylon, baby. So they wandered for 40 years because every day they didn't go to the wilderness and scout out the Anunnaki, not Skywalker, not Jabba the Hutt, not fallen angels, not crackers and grape juice, not sons of God coming into the traditions, women of men. They were told to go scout out the Gazas, the Philistines, the Palestinians. I mean the Palestinians. Oh, I mean the Philistines, the champions, the Anunnaki is what they were. Gaza, modern day Gaza. And they didn't. They said we were like grasshoppers to them. Remember? They came back. They didn't fulfill after Father had split the kingdom. So Anunnaki are giants, not Anakin Skywalker, Nanu, Shazbot. So, all right, let's move back to this last portion of what I'm going to do. I need to do something with my day here and probably make something, get some eggs, go collect some eggs. I already got some duck egg this morning and go do get some work done around here, around the ministry. But I want to talk about this right of affirmative defense and the right to protect yourself under the Fourth Amendment of the right to be secure. And this is under this new covenant as well. That's why it's a constitutional, protected, God-given right of the land, organic, natural right to protect yourself. You can obviously, shall not be infringed. I'm not talking about that right now. I don't even have a Second Amendment right. I actually, as an American, only have one right left in this country, and that's my First Amendment. I've literally been stripped of all of them. It doesn't mean that, the wheels turn slow, but 1 year, you have that right to be under Title 18. If anybody's going to cause harm to your house's papers, persons, or affect your property, your animals, your dog, can defend yourself, and you can use the force necessary. That's that little Title 18 section is the one that was originally not a subsection or revised section, not adjudicated through the House, Congress, and Senate. This went through the original House, Congress, and Senate. So it is law. This is this is the law of the land, and it's the law of the original constitutional republic. So I've asserted that right over and over again, my right of self-defense, and I have now suffered and been menaced. And just as recently as this last week, I have the sheriff's office running over my rather large sign that's out of the driveway that has about 100 markers, and I have their forensic. I did this for a living, and so I just have to keep documenting this discovery so that I can, I'm a little bit of a loss. They know where my son is at, and I've told them, his whereabouts, and they won't get him. And I believe he's been kidnapped, as well as my daughter being held for ransom. They just won't do anything. His safety, and I don't like even saying that word because of what Scripture said, but his well-being is in jeopardy every day. He's looking over his shoulder. So that's why I have to keep pressing with this issue and reminding myself that I'm not doing anything illegal here by trying to protect him. We all have the right to protect. I've done this because I'm a veteran, to protect anybody. I would do it a million times if Father made me come back and suffer what I've had to suffer these last 5 years with this original case. I would do it again because I'm a veteran, and you take an oath to the Constitution. Your first general orders: do not quit your post until properly relieved. I just don't think that anybody's going to help my son, and so far nobody has. So whether it costs me the rest of my life in prison, I would told and said that from the beginning, that I would fight to the death to keep him to going from prison using my First Amendment, not with violence. Well, I got a bird sound a little strange out there. Oh, sound like. Hold on a second, I might have a bird. That's it. Okay. So I have I've tried to do everything I can do, brothers and sisters, and they have literally stripped me back from every single right. I mean, I have the right to protect myself, and I've waited a year for the Constitution to do, what it's supposed to. That's a clear violation of my Sixth Amendment right of fair and speedy trial. So I cannot protect my son. I cannot protect myself. I cannot protect my animals. There's just the only thing that's protecting me right now is Father. I don't have the right of all Americans that everyone is given the authority. I don't even have the right to call for service. I could go right now if they would just go get my silver where it's very possible that it's at. And I don't care about shiny dirt. I could go file this lawsuit. Maybe this county would back down. I don't know. I know Father's doing all things, so I'm not anxious or seek vengeance. I can't even protect my animals. It was kept coming out. If some, animal came, cat, cougar, came off the hill there from the wood line. I'm not very far from the trees. You can see couldn't even protect my animals. I can't protect myself. And now I can't even protect my son. I said, my son's here and he's been kidnapped. My daughter's there. Their cars are there and they won't even go get him. Is it a revoke license? How severe are the constraints? I don't know what you're talking about there, George. But I have to keep reminding myself I've never done anything illegal here by trying to protect him. And, and it just keeps adding. I mean, I'm literally being gang stalked by the Lake County Sheriff's Office, and I have proof that they're driving over my property and destroying and vandalizing. And then they called 83 times that day. And they continue to call and tirade me with people here in the live stream and doxing me with all their, files and information. And I know they're in here because they say that they are. Their discovery says it is. So it is what it is. I'm not going to be, it's okay. I can't worry about what Father has my back that day, and I shouldn't even be talking right now. I shouldn't have speech, and face is definitely getting better. I mean, still have massive pressure in my head, and my lungs are fried, and it is what it is. It'll all work out in time, but I just don't know how. I get up today, and I don't know what to, So again, I'm making calls, to attorneys, and a lot of them are very. The case is too big for them. When they actually look at the case, it's just a massive, massive case. Should already been kicked to the feds, but nobody will talk. I've already asked to be put in witness protection. I have no way to defend myself. I have no way to defend my animals. I have no way to defend my property. And I'm just sitting there like a duck in a pond. I can't even leave the state. I don't really have anywhere else to go. I've invested my whole last, 10 years of my life here to give everything to the ministry. I don't really need anything. Actually, I just need them to drop this charges. Otherwise, again, I have placed, several calls and talking with attorneys, but this is a case that's not going to, see, it's hard for some of these people to take this case. It's involves such massive amount of discovery, a stream for thousands of hours, and had hundreds and hundreds. I mean, there are people from all over this rock that were calling before the SWAT raid. That means these people's, like right now, the IP address of everybody, and sure, it's being tracked. They used YouTube evidence as their discovery to come in this, ministry and SWAT raid this, and get my son out of here. Well, they took him to jail, and now they have the same warrant have a warrant for his arrest. They had a warrant for his arrest then. Why they came and got him here? Why won't they get him where he's at now? It don't make any sense. The whole thing is just whacked. So I need to keep reminding myself, I'm doing everything I can, and until either some other nation sees it from some other country and says this veteran has been absolutely harassed and stripped of every right, we need to step in. I've seen he sought asylum. We need to help this man and get him help. His animals are in jeopardy. His life is in jeopardy. He's being targeted. I can prove there's people around me that have had their kid taken away for no reason, just because his name was on the report. He came and brought me something, during the time that I was here with my son. And he left here and they pulled him over and he ended up taking the guy's kid. Not justified. I talked about it. Maybe I talked about it on the live stream, but Kevin got a ticket out of the cop dead to right, saying he wasn't even radar in the correct way. He still got a ticket. He drove 1,400 miles or something, never had 20 years since he's had a ticket. He was guilty before he walked in so people, my son has been targeted because of this, and I don't know else to protect him. I mean, I tried, they want to throw him in. I guess they don't now, they have, but now I'm facing, 15 years, 10, 15 years in prison. So I have to protect myself. I don't know what to do here other than to that's why I go live a lot. Sometimes I don't, it's because I'm working here. I have to take time for the ministry. So I know Father's doing it. So I just wish that the man that hit me in the face with a grenade would be held accountable. That's excessive force and attempted murder. Come in, at the minimum, it's an excessive force charge. Come on in. And so, hi, Marty girl. Hi, Marty. But anyways, yeah, I just, like I said, I keep reminding myself that I've done everything I can do, and then they just keep stripping my rights back. So, just very vulnerable right now. Affirmative defense gives me the right of self-defense, but I can't protect myself. I can't. I called. Try to use law enforcement. My son's here. He's kidnapped. My daughter, here's her car. There's 40 pounds of silver sitting there, potentially, my passport, that's a federal offense. They denied call for service. How could the attorney call, not my attorney anymore, he quit, but how could he call the cops and say, hey, I want these transcripts. You told him that if he called you guys and thought his son was either dead or kidnapped, that if you contacted his son was there, he'd be breaking the no contact order. You're threatening with and they refuse to give him the transcripts. You ever heard of an attorney not getting the transcripts from a law enforcement officer? This whole case is strange. So I don't know what else to do. I've got to go. Actually, I got more phone calls, like I said, to make. I have some attorneys, civil lawsuit attorneys. I can't believe I'm doing this because I didn't want to penalize the Oregon taxpayer for the bad policing of their public servants. It doesn't seem right, but Father didn't like taxes. I've held off a whole year and they've not even opened the case file even one time. That's the only thing that's been said is if I leave town, they'll make me a sweetheart deal, guys. That's crazy. Leave town and we'll make you a sweetheart deal. That's why they wanted to came here. Doesn't that make expense? Just shut me up. That's why they hit me in the face with a grenade. So
it's probably they'll let you live. That's part of the deal.
No, this doesn't make any sense to me. It's why I had this gone a whole year and the case has never been opened up. That's a clear violation of my Sixth Amendment. I mean, I'm going to get killed out here. They're eventually just going to come out here and kill me. And if it is what it is, you'll see all the documentation was live. Somebody should have got out to this veteran sooner. This guy didn't, have a record. And they came in and just wrecked he's a pastor, wrecked his ministry, and just literally they had no justification. They literally kidnapped my daughter, and they dropped the charges on her, and now she's missing again. Well, she wasn't missing, but they did kidnap her and took her to jail illegally without a warrant, and didn't drop charges on her until that was in May, June, July, August, September. Imagine waiting 4 months and not doing anything but supporting your husband, not being guilty of anything, and they take you without warrant and arrest you and throw you in a cage. That's sickening what they did to my daughter. They dropped her charges, but she should have already filed a massive lawsuit against the state of Oregon for accosting her body. and taking her without a signed warrant from a judge. That's an illegal detainment. That's an illegal arrest. That's a kidnapping. And I've spoken with other attorneys, not just one, but multiple attorneys, and they said that is a kidnapping. So they're going to held accountable with the man that shot my son with his hands in the air, cooperating. What now? He's trying, he's asking him what he already, you can hear, and he still just they shot him anyways. It's like hitting me in the face with a grenade, and I was not going and reaching for any weapons. I was not communicating any threat. I was not violent. You have to, under your right of Fourth Amendment, in your house, especially in your house, brothers, sisters, you have that right to be secure. They violated my Fourth Amendment by hitting me in the face with a grenade. He had his hands in the air. Why did they hit me in the face with a grenade? Didn't make any sense. Here, you want to see it? And then I got to go. I get some food in my stomach. They come here. They're here for 15 seconds, 20 seconds. I go live. They try to get me here, and they try to come in here and not without the live and rush me out of here and get me. They said they bragged about it. They're going to get me to come out here with the gun, and I never threatened any violence to anybody. As a matter of fact, I made it clear. I made it very clear. Now listen. Okay, I'll make it very clear. They were here. I knew they were coming the night before. They've been stalking me and harassing me for 17 days. I pleaded. We had people calling from all over the world. Stop. This guy has all the evidence that his son did this probation that you tell him he didn't, and then he did it again, and then you're still trying to throw him in jail. His son was the only one of 5 guys to go to jail. He did his time. Then he did his probation community service, and then did it again. And they still wanted to throw him in prison. I have the right to protect him under the right of self-defense. So I didn't let him arrest him, and I have that right. I said, look at the evidence. We had hundreds of people calling from all over the world, and I was live streaming the evidence the whole time. They were in watching it. So they are criminally and liable and they're culpable for all these damages, and they have been put on notice. So you can't come no matter what, and I didn't threaten anybody. And even if there was, I still have to, when they come here, reach for a gun, threaten them, and I didn't. That's not what was done. I said that I would fight to the death to keep my son from going to prison, using my First Amendment right for 200 and some hours. I live streamed saying I'm not using weapons. I'm using my constitutional right to protect him. He has the right, and you're not looking at the evidence. This is innocent until proven guilty. I've been calling for years about this. This needs to be taken care of. And so here it goes. This is a violation. You cannot come onto somebody's property, even if you have a warrant. They didn't execute it properly, but then go deadly force. I'm not reaching for a gun. Listen, the only reason I thought I heard them, again, I looked out the window, I saw them, I knew what they were coming for. I goes to the door because I don't know if I was asleep for 10 minutes. I'd only been in bed for a half an hour at the most from after live streaming for an hour, sup with Father, was praying with him, and then laid down. Told my son, if they come, do not resist, do not fight these people. We have the evidence. And if you watch the whole live stream, that's what I said. And I have to play stupid because they shot him, and I'm acting because I'm a veteran like he's okay. Is he laying on the ground? Elijah did the right thing. If he's hearing me, he didn't make a peep. And you can go watch that if you'd like. It's in the whole live stream. I'm just going to watch what they did to me, and then you can go watch it. It's in the playlist. It's 16-minute video. There's 2 videos. Last time they arrested me, and it's a bunch of nonsense. And so this would get any case dropped. And so this is why I'm trying to get these attorneys have looked at this, guys, and it's so massive. It should not. This is a federal case. It already should have been kicked over to the federal government. The change of venue that I requested for many months should have been at least. It cannot be tried in this county. There's just too many judicial bias, jury bias, witness bias. There's many qualifications. This checks the block of every change of venue case. This is all of it. And they still will not, this county will even open up the file on the case. That's a violation of my right to fair and speedy trial. So this is a violation of my Fourth Amendment. Okay, you got a warrant for my arrest. You want to take me in? Execute the warrant properly. They have to do this all brothers, they can't just go hog wild like they did, because they never came out here to arrest me. They came here to shut me up at any cost, because I'm the guy for 10 years that's exposing they're using their law enforcement with their very rich farmers out here to move illicit things within the community and get free passes on everything. And they stomped the little man, and I'm not having it. I'm the little man, period. I don't care. I ain't trying to be above anybody. So I don't live like you live. Yep, they want you to be a part of their system, go with the flow, and they don't like when you grow tomato plants. You're a threat to the government when you grow. So anyways, let's look at this, and I got to go. I'm going to eat me some farm fresh eggs. And so
that'll piss them off.
Yeah, that'll make them upset when you got cock-a-doodle-doo going in the background. Yep. So anyways, here we go. If you listen, they have saying nothing. They are watching this live stream. They have drones over High Desert Faith and Ministries here at Silver Rock Ranch. They have drones. They're flying. So they're watching it. They know what I'm doing inside of this building. This makes them 100% culpable, criminally liable for all damages that they caused to my stroke. I'm just not going to be the same. My eye is going to be, I'm going to go to an optometrist when I get to leave the country. When I get my passport back and I can leave, I should have just left when my son told me to go. No criminal record, but yeah, somebody needed to help the guy. He did his crime. Okay. He did the time. It wasn't like he robbed somebody. It was a breaking into some empty abandoned buildings out here in the desert. Some trailers have been vacant. Doesn't make it right. He's the only guy to go to jail. He did his time, and then he did it again, and they still wanted to throw him in jail. I said, you're not going to do it, because they already threw him in jail once. Now they wanted to revoke his probation, send him to prison for 7 years. Bullshit. I'm not having it. So anyways, here we go. I streamed for hundreds of hours, 17 days straight. And so they decide to, instead of looking at any evidence, which I have the right of affirmative defense to protect him from legal prosecution. So I've broken no law by doing what I'm doing. They come SWAT raid the house without coming to the door, ever calling for years. And they actually start calling a whole bunch, trying to get me off of my live stream, to get me out of the door and shoot me. You can see as soon as they shoot Elijah, I watched that again. And that's why when they shot him, they tried to get me to come out. He said, stop making this difficult. Come out the door immediately. I think they thought when they shot my son, I'd come out the door with a gun too and try to retaliate. And that's not what happened. If you watch the live stream, nobody retaliated. Nobody resisted. Nobody did anything to violate anything. Everybody went with their hands in the air. And that's crazy that they arrested my daughter. They arrested my daughter because they knew that they had fucked up. They came here to kill me, and it didn't work. They hit me in the face with a grenade. I should have fell to the floor like a sack of potatoes. I should not have speech right now. I should not have the hearing. It's robotic sounding, but it's still hearing. My eye has been scarred. It is what it is. So watch. There's two. You'll see there's two. There's a flash, because it's concussion, flash, concussion, bang. It's all that incendiary flash. You can see it literally. It just covers my eye. And that's why I have that hair and dirt and sand, and it's just not. I have to look through it all the time, and it is what it is. But you'll see, and then there's the bang, the concuss. That should have taken out my eardrum. My eye should not have vision. I literally should have, my speech should have been, I should have been mentally disabled, retarded by that concussion without any hearing protection. I have prior SWAT officer, prior building intro, certified and all this. I've been banged. I've been cussed. I've been gassed. You don't do it without hearing protection. It will bring you to your knees. It's meant like a smoke or a tear gas is meant to fill the room with gas or smoke or concuss, not directly at somebody. That's an excessive force violation. This officer should be put on leave and face attempted murder charges. We'll see. The officer that shot my son, excessive force. Then they lobbed 5 tear gas canisters. You can watch the whole thing if you want to watch it. But this is what they do. I'm not saying any violence. You got to remember, I just woken up. I put a coat on, the same coat that I have on here. I don't think I even have bottoms on at this point. I got my boxers on. I'm not communicating any violence. I didn't say anything to them. They've been here for 30 seconds, 15 seconds. I got up, put my coat on. I say, you'll see what I say. And I go to the door to see if my son's okay. I'm not threatening anybody. And they're watching. They're watching what I'm doing in here. This is why all these SWAT officers will eventually serve time in prison for what they did. The kidnapping, the excessive force, potential attempted murder. Was it Lake County Sheriff's Office that shot my son? Was it the state police? I need to know. Was it a state police officer? They were both out here. Which officer hit me in the face with a grenade and which officer shot my son? I want to know. These people need to be brought to trial. So let's take a look at what the state of Oregon, this rogue gang that came out here without even, no cause. They should have looked into this thing. And one phone call to Lake County Probation where I called the son's attorney first. There's the phone call to duplicate it. Hey, I'm calling. He's coming over to where you're at. I want to help facilitate Tracy, their probation on criminal. Just document it. You're a prior law enforcement officer, Boop. Okay. Call them. Is Elijah's hours completed? Yes. No. We need to get documentation. This is what the attorney said. I'm his dad. I know he can't give me the cold case file, but needs to get documented that his hours have been completed. Hold on. Put you on hold. We summons that one phone call would have prevented a SWAT raid, brothers sisters. This is ridiculous. So look at what this gang thug, when I was in law enforcement, heavily armed, 5, 6 or more, a group heavily armed, all going around harassing, extorting the general public, all wearing the same color. Then blue line, they came out here with 25 guys with the state, with the county with them to come out here to try to flush me out of this house, get me off my live stream, get me to come out the door with a gun, and it never went down like they thought. And still, it's 1 year later. They've ruined this, shot all of my windows out of my house, the corrals, the fencing, all of it. Still, it's not all been returned to the, all of the actual fencing that was available to separate and keep all these animals, livestock separated. I offered emergency service during the Oregon fires here over in Lake and Lynn County for people to bring their animals. Imagine being a farmer like me and having pigs and cows and sheep and horses and driving away with just what you had and have to watch the, 3/4 or more just burn all your livelihood, everything, and drive away. And this is all you got. I offered that during the Paradise fires is when I really put in most of this major and then started separating it more with the fires that were out here. So I was the only one who offered emergency service, and they ripped that down, brothers and sisters. They're cruel, and they literally are menacing me still to this day, running over my property again. And who do you call when the cops are running over your property? This is a very difficult time for me to be in. But let's look at what they did to me. Father is in control here. I would not wish this upon any man. You could literally write a movie about this that people would never even believe what has happened to me, my son, and all the people that have had to suffer because they are in the shadow or in my presence. It's quite cruel what they do to the other people around me. But this is what they did to me. I'm thankful to even be here. I don't know any man that could take a grenade to the face with one of these and have not still stood there without some hearing protection in their ear. It should have hit the ground, and I shouldn't be in here today. So I'm so thankful, why would I send a letter to the president? President's a Satanist. He decorates his house with myth of the sun god Satan. And president is the head of the corporation. President's not going to do anything for me. Presidents don't make laws. So burn that the American flag. I don't pledge my allegiance to a flag. I'm a veteran to the Constitution and to the God right given natural organic right of the law of the land that's always been here, and protected that right, will continue to protect the Constitution. Trump does not care about anything. So here we go. If Trump cared about something, he'd bring all our military bases home, wouldn't he? And he would have built the wall instead of giving these people a jab. And the number one drug ever sold dealer is Donald Trump. So why the fuck would I write him? He created the Pfizer jab and solicited the American public for $2.2 trillion to create a fake virus. It's not a living organism. I don't know where you come from, but you obviously are very uneducated on what's going on in this country right now. You might be one of those silent majorities, so you might use that right to remain silent. Anything you say and do will be used against you. You can kick that can right on down the road if you'd like, because can is irrelevant in your Miranda rights. So I'm a prior veteran, pig, and a police officer. So I've defended your right to speech, and you can come in here. Constitution, that Congress shall establish no law prohibiting the exercise of free speech of the press and of a religion, the right to peacefully assemble, right? Redress grievances, form well-regulated. Obviously, I don't know what you know about your rights. Your Declaration of Independence, remember, it's not only the right of the people. If our government, like Trump, like Biden, like they're all the same team, becomes tyrannical, to duty of the people to overthrow this, instill a new, yes, first ballots, then well-regulated militias, first bullets, no, got to redress grievance, then this already tyrannical government, this is the actual well-regulated militia, no, this founding, standing army is the CIA, the FBI, the DOJ, all these heavily armed alphabet soup agencies, the state troopers, the sheriff's deputies, the sheriff, and the city cops. That's that fan. They're all armed to the teeth, and they will shoot you dead if you don't respect my authority. Welcome to Freedom America, and you're flag waving and think the president's going to fix. The president doesn't make laws. Congress makes laws. You've fallen for this spell, haven't you? House, Congress, Senate, if it's not adjudicated through our democratic process through our constitutional republic is part of the constitutional republic voting, but we're not a democracy. I walk down the street, say, hey, 51% of the people voted. They go, okay, well, 49%, shut the fuck up. That's not, hey, 51 to 49 means we only got to pay these three schmucks off and it's back in our favor. How do you like them democracy bombs we drop in other countries on people's heads, huh? How's that for freedom? Dum, da, dum, dum, dum. All right, moving on. So let's take a look at this, what they'll do to people like me, because people like me don't speak up, because people like you are so prideful and wave flags and think that the president's going to save you, whether it's this time or that time. They've got you under the illusion of hope. People will not do anything, brothers, sisters, until they just lose every bit of hope. No, just listen to me. Just please listen to me. If they have hope, that's what this, I'm not saying like Putin and all that. I'm not doing it, but we'd be better off with somebody like, that's been there for more than 8 years. Because what this does, if you ever watch this voting process, more people vote Democrat because the donkey pissed them off so much, or the elephant pissed them off, that they vote red or blue. And this always happens. It keeps the hope alive. Remember, Obama, he ran on hope and change. Remember, it wasn't that long ago. How'd that end up? With a pocket lid. He spent $10 trillion, more than all the presidents had ever spent in the history of this country in 10 years, right? No, in 8 years, right? He didn't get no extra 2 years. Well, maybe he did with the old 46 administration. He got another 2, right? 4. No, anyway, so they can only, no, but maybe if they did serve a third term, we might actually start getting somewhere. But that's what just keeps that hope alive. Oh, Trump's going to fix it. Oh, the next one's going to fix it. Oh, it never gets fixed. They just keep pushing their same agenda. So that's why you idiots that vote in the system, you're enslaved. You voted for your own overlord. You need to be ruled, and you can't even police yourself. So go along, child. We didn't need all this law, and they never did. That's serfdom. If you're going to just can't come on my land and act like make laws by Congress makes the laws, not presidents, not executive orders. You have lost your brains on what the original constitutional republic was because it's not a constitutional republic. It's a corporation. So anyways, there are some of their corporate thugs coming out, operating in commerce, coming out here to literally assault me and try to kill me. And then they were unsuccessful. Thank you, Father. I'm still standing here, and I should should be using reconstructed. They should have hauled me to the hospital and not the county jail, brothers, sisters. Here I am. So let's take a look. You'll see there is a flash, which obviously scarred my retina. That's why I have this whatever in my vision. And then the bang is why I hear like a robot, and I should have hit the ground. And I should have been taken to the hospital, and that's why I had blood leaking out my head during the live stream and have suffered all this respiratory with the 5, is us versus them. No lesser rights. Yeah, we're all one race. There's a hominoid species that's invasive here, brother, sister, that wants to whack us. It's called the governments. Okay. So here we go. Then I got to go. Hold on. Let's go back to it again.
The state police are at my house. They're executing a warrant. The state police are at my house.
They're watching. They see me in here.
Police are at my house, and I told you I have the proof. It's right here up on the board that I was live streaming that they're executing a warrant now. Elijah, are you okay?
They're not saying anything. Look,
Are you okay?
I'm not communicating any threat.
Elijah, are you okay?
You can't hit somebody in the face with a grenade, brothers and sisters. That's a violation of your Fourth Amendment. If they came on this property and they had a warrant, so be it. You have to execute it properly. That is deadly force. You need to call somebody, brothers and sisters, or they're going to come out here and kill me sooner or later. They're done, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything. You know, I have used the system to let this process go, and it's been one whole year, and they still will not look at this case. That is excessive force at the very minimum. And if you continue to watch the live stream, you'll see my son was cooperating. He had his hands in the air, and they shot him, guys. They kidnapped my daughter that day. Now, they've dropped her charges. I just want you to know I've tried to do everything that I can do. And I don't know what else to do because I don't have any more rights. Like you have a right if you're an American. I've lost. They came in here because I told them that I knew where my son was at and found him. And I believe he's been kidnapped and found his car, found my daughter's car, and they will not go get him. And and that's crazy. They came here to do this to get him and they will not go. Yeah, he lived. But I don't even know where he was shot at. I don't know where. I don't know. Go listen to it. 9 shots. 9 shots, guys. That's ridiculous. That don't make no sense. Here, I think it's here. We'll go to it real quick. It's not that. Watch. They call me, my son. I say he's coming out because he calls me. I tell him we talk about it. I told him, go peacefully, son. Do not, Dad, I don't go to, okay, son, I know, but if we both end up in prison, we'll figure it out, Elijah. We just got to let God use us. Remember the thief on the cross, son. We talked about it the night before because I knew they were coming. That way, when he called me, he said, Dad, I'm not going. They already shot out the windows in the motorhome and shot the front windshield, shot the side window, blowing glass. There was no attorney. They had 2 attorneys and they both quit. Nobody can take this case so far. I have attorneys looking at it. Get an attorney. Fucking make it rain in here. You want to help me? I took $46,000 and paid this ministry off instead of helping myself, brothers and sisters. Okay. So I apologize for cursing here, but all right. So my son calls me. I'm sitting there explaining them, that, I have all this evidence because they're live streaming. I know that they're watching this. Yeah, no, you guys wouldn't even believe what they did. So my son calls me on the phone. Look, he calls me.
My son is coming out peacefully.
Okay, so they hear me. I'm at the door. Now, remember, I've opened the door again. I shut the door, and they already hit me in the face once with a grenade. But I got to stick my damn face back out that damn door. I've got the screen closed, but, and know that they could easily just pick me off. They've got, 25 state troopers and 5 county officers and 3 or 4 the armored vehicles. This is one of the most excessive, drones flying over the property. People in the SWAT, command vehicles watching the live stream. I mean, this is a heavily excessive amount of money that was completely wasted. So my son communicates, why are you taking me? He has the reason, the right to know. Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's what they kept doing. If you watch it, they kept trying to get me off the live stream. Now, listen, guys, I didn't because I've been listening to this a couple times. After they shoot my son, that was an enticing thing. That they wanted me to grab something and be pissed. I don't know. Maybe they shot over him because I know he's alive, but I don't know where he was shot. I know he was brought to jail. So he and I were both, instead of being looked at by at least looked at, they should have taken my son to the hospital, me, and then hauled us to jail. But they didn't do that. He went to jail, I went to jail, and my daughter went to jail. And they didn't have a warrant for arrest. That is an illegal detainment, an illegal arrest without a signed judge warrant showing who and where. They can't accost you on your property and take your body. They literally dropped her charges now, guys. But her car is at this guy's house that I think he stole my, or somehow all my precious metals, my passport, and has my son. His car was taken from that property, and my daughter's car is there. Why? These are people he said he had never talked to after my son went to jail. He said didn't talk to my daughter, and my son was sending his calls to voicemail. So he's lying, and this is where my son's at. I called the cops, and they won't go get him. They won't. How did they come here and do this to me, but they won't get him now? They literally, because he has a warrant for his arrest, which he shouldn't be looking over his shoulder right now. He already at that house already. I already went there. I went there. And I found my daughter's car. So you got to use the law like I've done for a whole year, guys. And I called the law enforcement in Josephine County and said, look, my son's car, my daughter's car's there. This guy, you know, he said my daughter bought his car, but she didn't need to sell him the car. Her case was dropped. It doesn't make sense. So I called for service and they denied me service. I called the attorney that has now quit and said, look, my son's here, you know, call this county police department. When I called them, they said, we can't contact him because if we contact him, you're breaking your no contact order. You're not supposed to talk to your son. So if we go there and he's alive and we contact him, you broke your no contact order. And he said they can't do that to you. And your silver, there's 40 pounds of silver. You retired. He took that. You gave him the gold to bail your son out, but he took your silver and your felony to have your passport. They can't do that. He called the sheriff's office in Josephine County, Oregon, and they would not give the attorney the transcripts. How the hell is that even possible, guys? You know, my life is in jeopardy. I'm doing everything I can to try to help protect my son, protect myself. I just had the cops literally at the end of my driveway running over my big pole out there that's got the markers. I live out in the country. People, the driveway tells them on their Google Maps to go the other side of the road. I have a thick marker, and they ran it over. And I live stream. I don't have the actual them running, but I went back. They came right back and measured. I'm a prior traffic reconstructionist. Went through the Highway Patrol Academy in Oklahoma City. If you need a witness, get hold of Trooper Strasbaugh. He's there when I went through the Highway Patrol Academy, got all my reconstruction certification. So, brothers, sisters, I went and pulled all the forensics. It's their prints. It's their vehicle. They crashed into my property and they're menacing me, trying to, you know, that's gang stalking. Brother, sister, it was like 4. Kevin saw them before we left to go get tacos. There was 4 of them out here. One of them was at the end of the driveway. I thought I saw a drone at the end of the driveway, you know, or up in the air. I told Kevin something about it. I'm like, said something to him about seeing something and seeing the guy at I think he went down there, popped his drone out and was flying it over. They're literally menacing me. You know what I'm saying? So how far along are you with the killdozer? That's funny, man. No, I don't want no vengeance, man. I don't seek no vengeance. So look, my son, if you'll notice, because he's in the building next to me, they fucked my motor. I banish and cuss. They really ruined a very classic motorhome that sucks. That is a very unique diesel, rare model. Old, it's old, but it's a time machine. It has a lot of value, and they've thrashed it. It's just getting worse and worse. But he's there. They shot the windows out. He says, you know, he's going to come out. I let them know. My son's coming out peacefully, guys. They call me. I say, he's coming out. Now, listen, he's there, and you can hear him because they start barking directions at him. Now, he's doing what they're telling him. You can, I think he's come out. He comes out. He's coming out peacefully. He called me, and he said, Dad, I'm not going to prison. Dad, I'm not going to prison. I said, son, remember, the thief on the cross. And he said, okay, Dad, I love you. I'm coming out. You know, he said, I'm going peacefully. I said, okay, son. That's why I said I got on the phone. He's coming out peacefully, guys. He's coming out. So I'm trying to, now I got to open that door where they just shot me less than 5 minutes ago or hit me in the face with a concussion grenade. That was actually hand thrown directly at my face. And so I got to stick my face back out the door knowing I've already been hit. Now you got to imagine my head is killing me. My vision, my mouth, you can actually hear if you'd watch that stream, it starts affecting my speech. I start talking a little weird, guys. I just been concussed. I have a concussion. My hearing's all my eyes are just fucking. I'm having all these weird spots, and so I stick my face back out the door to let them know, guys, he's coming out peacefully. He comes out. He has his hands up, and you guys can see I can lean. You can hear him. They start, and he gets closer. Now he's asking him, and he has every right. I've shown this video footage to an attorney. You know, a criminal attorney. He's saying, why are you here? He has the right to know why they're arresting him. What about my 180 hours, which is very smart of him to say, because that's the hours he did plus more hours, which he should have never done. And then said, why are you taking me? They're going to cost his body once again. So then he's moving. You can hear the officer still making noise. Now he's getting closer because he's following the instructions. The officer says, I think he says, move to the left. My son moves and says, what now? And he just, because you can see, they see me look at him, just, and they just blast him. Now you hear the officer, because to me, that's a very tense moment. They've just shot my son. He makes no noise. I got to act like he's not been shot. So you're going to hear me play this part of like, thanks for not hurting him, and thanks for Elijah, because I'm trying to talk to him without, it's the only way I know to communicate with him. If you watch the whole live stream, it will make sense. Thanks for not hurting him. Thanks, you did the right thing, Elijah. I didn't know if he's laying on the fucking ground. He didn't make no noise. So if you'll listen, after they, come on, guys, I got the two dogs trying to go through here at the same time. One's 100 and something pounds, and the other one. So they tell me to come out. Maybe they shot him over his head. I don't know where they would have shot. They had officers all around here that wouldn't have made shot. One of them had been in the line of fire, guys. I don't know if you're a veteran, that would have been flagging, and that wouldn't have made sense. They had officers over there, and he was coming towards me. You can hear him getting closer. He says he's got his hands in the air, and I can see his hands. I can't quite make them out, but their officer's got that big bright light. It's more like a shadow. I can see but his hands are in the air, and he says, what now? Because he's complying, and they shoot him anyways. And then right after, he said, stop making this more complicated. Come out the door. See, they were trying to get me to come out the door. But says that's all. That makes sense once I watched it, and I've watched it now. Listen, and you tell me, and then we're gonna go, guys. I got to make some food for myself here. Got Kevin here too. We're gonna make us something to eat. So here we go. So he calls, Dad, I'm not going to prison. Dad, I'm not going to prison. Elijah, remember the thief on the cross. Okay, Dad, I love you. I'm going out. I'm coming out peacefully, right? I'm going peacefully. So that's why I say, here we go.
My son is coming out peacefully. I'm live streaming. We're going peacefully, guys. We're going peacefully. We're going peacefully. What happened to my hours being done?
What happened to my hours being done? Why are they coming to get me?
Peacefully. My son is going peacefully. You hear him? I'm live streaming, guys. Yes, you like the door. I'm going to come back to this more complicated. Why is it I want to talk to somebody?
Now I gotta shut the fucking door knowing my son just got shot. Remember, I got hit in the face, shut the door. You guys, if you can share this to any platform, there are these channels that do the, audits and stuff. I do audit, but it ain't gone anywhere in a year. So I don't expect anything out of any of it. Just to be a witness appreciate your time. I got to go. Remember, on the right of affirmative defense, I was not doing anything illegal. My civil and criminal actions are justified if they try me under this for doing this to protecting my son from arresting him. I had the evidence. I had streamed for 256 hours. Hundreds of calls were made. We were live streaming this, and they were calling. We had people from all over the world, Australia, Czechoslovakia, Russia, calling both these police departments and states saying, stand down. This veteran, he doesn't have a record. He's just trying to protect his son. I have the right, if they do further try to charge me, but I don't know if I'll make it to that day, brothers, sisters, because they just I don't have weapons anymore. They came and took them from me because brothers and sisters, I called one of these law enforcement officers who lives in this county and said, you know where my son's at? You had the time to do all your investigation. Instead, you're out harassing people in this community. I got dirt on you. I got on my phone, and I'm telling you, I know you've been going on people's property illegally. And he turns around and presses harassing the police and menacing the police charges against me, gets an extreme risk order, and comes and takes my Second Amendment items. I said I had, a shotgun that I'd never fired, and I only have it here to protect the animals. I was not saying violence, and a 308, which I'd never fired, and they were dusty. And they came and took them. They didn't find anything else because I didn't have anything else here. That's all I had. So, I've stumbled upon delusion, man, again. Okay, well, no, this is not delusion, Dominic. Did you get hit in the face with the grenade. This is really happening. I think you're delusional not to do anything about it. You're probably just going to go along. There's a place called the Hub. You can go pull your chain over there. As an American veteran like me, gets literally gassed, hit in the face, his son shot, his daughter kidnapped, and you can just keep speaking up. Go ahead. Your grand illusion, you know, go play your Call of Duty or World War. Go smoke your dispensary, little vape pen there, and get your jab and go along. Yep, you're free to go. You're free to go. So you're not free to stay, right? If you're free to stay, brothers and sisters, you're free to stay, then you're free to go. Free to go, then you're free to stay. Remember that. But Dominic, come on, man. Grow up, man. Stop being so childish. My son literally got shot. And do you care? Is that stumbled? Or I think maybe you're not paying attention. I'm an American. I have no rights. You do. And look at what you say with yours. Good for you. Look at what I'm doing with mine. I'm using my voice. That's all I have left is the right of speech, brothers and sisters. It's not even free. So if you want to support this ministry, leave a comment. You know, call somebody. I don't know what. Do whatever you want to do. Nobody's helped me at this point. Only thing I can do is have the right of Father. He's the one to protect me. Shouldn't be standing here today. So I am boisterous, but I have that right. I do speak up, and somebody's got to be the voice. They're trying to take it from me. Again, they said if I leave this town after 10 years to pay off this ministry and even not helping myself, they want me to leave town, and they'll make me a deal. So they only wanted, that should prove to you right now, all they ever, that's why they hit me in the face at 45 seconds with a grenade, is because all they wanted was to shut me up out here, because I've been exposing the corruption in this county with the rich farmers and the law enforcement officers out here. It's a shame. I got to call these law enforcement these lawsuit attorneys, brothers and sisters. For one whole year, I've avoided filing the lawsuit. As a matter of fact, I took the money that I had that I could have paid off the lawsuit, and I paid off this ministry. If the cops would just go out and get my 40 pounds of silver, you know, then I wouldn't be so burdened, and I might actually have some money left. But I got to take everything I have right now and try to go get this lawsuit attorney and be left with zero again. But that's okay. You know, I as long as that they'll drop these charges, I don't care what happens to me. I care what happens to my dogs. And I think it's so bullshit that my son has to be kidnapped possibly, or if he's looking over his shoulder every single day, and my daughter too. It's so wrong. It's been a whole year. They had a whole year to get this case done and tried and taken care of, and they don't even opened up the case file. That's a clear violation of my right of Sixth Amendment to fair and speedy trial. So every right has been violated in this case, and I've only got one right left. That's my right of speech, and I'm going to use it until they come down here and try to mow me down again, or, you know, I don't know what to do other than to get this lawsuit filed, and maybe then they'll back down. I try not to do it because that means the Oregon taxpayers got to pay. That means the county residents, for their corrupt police, law enforcement, public officials are supposed to be serving them. Now these people have to pay for their criminal negligence. It's a shame, brothers and sisters. I tried for a whole year. I think it's, you know, I don't know. You know, what would you do? What would you do right now? You give me a suggestion, and then I'm going to go. What would you do in this situation? I have used every possible means to not break the law, to protect my son and to protect my daughter, and even at this case, protect myself. You know, I've used the law. I've called, I've done everything. I've made hundreds of calls to avoid this situation and said, we don't need to bring this into the courts. We can settle this without pushing this into the courts. Come here, talk to me. Look at these evidence. Look at what I'm live streaming. I got all this evidence. He did it with Tom, Don, Morgan, the two females. Here's where he did it at. Here's Chad, the fire station chief that he did. Here's witness. They didn't want to look at nothing. Just ping their damn phones. They all got phones. You take your tracking device where you, everywhere his phone went, it should be able to be pinged. The Trump shooter sat there for 12 hours in the bushes at the golf course, and then his phone went 45 miles. What? Okay, but that's cellular data, cellular evidence. Okay, I want the cellular evidence on these 5 people who did with his phone. We can easily prove this. Instead, they SWAT raided the house. This isn't even justified, brothers and sisters, but I have justification defense, affirmative defense, because if they, again, which they won't open and do the case, try to bring me to trial or under my Sixth Amendment, I have my justified actions would be justified in a civil or criminal case. They are justified and excused, my actions. And I haven't done anything. I'm just a dad. I didn't have a record. It's just trying to protect your constitutional right, this county, this state, and just my son. If he got in trouble, he did his time, and twice, more than anybody, and they still are attacking him, trying to send him to prison for 7 years. Would you stand in front of your, something like that for your kids? We're the only species that really stays, with their kids for more than most animals. Just kick them out of the nest, if you will. So we're unique. I was a single dad, both his dad and his mom. So for 8 years, and raised him. So I didn't do it all right, but he was a good kid. And if he had done this time, I would have backed down a long time. I wouldn't even have stood up. So I got to do this, brothers, sisters. I got to go. I got to call these attorneys, and because I got to try to do everything I can to protect myself. My life is in danger right now. At any moment, they could come kill me dead, and I wouldn't even have any way to protect myself. I can't even protect my animals. Once again, a cougar comes off the hill, got to watch him eat my dogs. Coyote comes out, I can't even do anything. So no family, no friends. I got Kevin. So thank you, Father. Please protect Kevin. Why all these people after around me suffer, and he did. He's already suffered. So much agape. If you want to support the ministry, hit that thumbs up button. Start a GoFundMe or something. Nobody's started a whole year. Nobody's even started GoFundMe for this better. And they saw these people start these GoFundMe. You don't have to send nothing. Don't send nothing. Everything's good. Father is in control. He writes all things. And if Father created all things, he said, I am the Alpha and I am the Omega. I create all things, everything ever written, everything that ever was, everything that will be, everything not written. I do all these things after my own counsel. I create good. I do them for my own pleasure, and I create evil. Father creates evil, so just evil men doing things to me. He's just testing me. I will not falter. I've got faith like Daniel, like the lion from the tribe of Judah, right? My Shiloh is my prize. If they hurt me, he will heal the pain. Anybody took from me, he'll pour out a just measure, and he will right all the wrong. So I seek no vengeance, but I would like to see these people stand trial and be accountable. I want to be accountable for everything I've done. I want my son to be accountable, and I'm not trying to get away with anything, brothers, sisters. Not at all. Father, pour out a just measure on me. Do not let me get away with a single thing. So I'm not broken laws under the right of my Fourth Amendment, the right of affirmative defense. I have the right to protect myself, and that's why I held my son, and they would not let them arrest him. If they just would have left the evidence, they could have not kicked this into the courts, okay? And they did. And so now there's been a whole year, brothers, sisters. That is a failure under the right of due process. Think about it. 8th Amendment, 12th Amendment, 14th Amendment. My Second Amendment was taken from me. My Fourth Amendment, every right has been taken from me. I only have one right. So what would you do? They want me to shut up and go away into the system, and I will not stand down and stop speaking unless, they came here with guns, 30 men with guns to kill me, and they were not successful. Although they did shoot my son and kidnap my daughter, I'm still standing here today, and I feel blessed just to have a voice. So I'm going to keep using it. He said, don't hide that light in a basket. So until they come shoot me, brothers and sisters, they're already at my driveway knocking over my property again, and I have them dead to rights. I have all the forensic, so who do you call? When the cops are harassing and menacing you and gang stalking you and destroying your property, who do you call? I called the attorney. He didn't do anything. So he quit on me for calling him out for not doing anything. Isn't that crazy? I called him out for not doing anything. He didn't do anything about the Josephine County. My son's there. The cops, I get charges for saying, hey, you cops know where my son's at. They end up knowing where he's at. They come here to get him, but they won't go there to get him. There's no, this is just things a whole crazy. The movie would just be insane. If somebody wrote a book about this, you just would not believe it. You'd say, this cannot be true. There's no way that's going to be happening to somebody. This system cannot be doing this. This happens to more than just people like me, brother, sister. I'm sure there's others out there, not in the things that I've done in the fashion, but there's others that are being just stomped just like me. And you guys don't hear their voice. So hopefully I'm saying it loud enough that somebody will eventually hear it. Maybe someday some country, because this is a worldwide ministry, will pick me up and give me asylum, because I am at risk every moment I wake up. Every night I go to bed now, guys. It's getting hard to go to bed. And I don't mean to do this with Kevin, but like I hope they'll come tonight, and talking about, I don't even think that they're going to come and do it again. It gives me some stress, PTSD, thinking every night they can come do this to me again, because they're doing the same things, stalking the house and drones. And this is the same thing that happened last time. So every day I feel in fear for my own animal safety. They would shoot the dogs in a minute. If like if I would have left the door open, dogs came out, they didn't get to shoot me. I guarantee dogs would have barked. They'd have been dead dogs. It said in their discovery that they could be a threat to the SWAT officer, so they would have shot them. So I'm not safe, and I don't know what to do, guys. I'm pinned me down. They won't let me leave the state. I've already asked for witness protection, and the attorney said he can't do anything like that. There's, it's just. All right, so the movie continues, I guess, but this is my life. If you want to call it the name of the movie, it would be called When You Become the Evidence. Okay, that's me. I stepped in just for a dad to try to protect my son and your rights. I do it. I catch a grenade for you. Put that in the little thing with the Bruno Mars thing or whatever. Get some copyright things or whatever. But it'd make a good movie, man. But this is a hard walk to rock here with this flesh meat suit they got me on, man. A stroke. Bleeding out my cranium for months on end, still probably have some kind of concussion. My brain is always feeling like there's something swollen back in there, my head. I told you that. And just lungs are always just, it's tough to breathe when your lungs breathe tear gas for months on end. So, all right. Father will protect me. He has me standing here today, and I'm so thankful that he sent me a good witness who's had to go through hell with me now. So, he's a strong man too, but strong in his faith. So that's why I'm thankful for all that. I know this man would, he'd catch a grenade for me. I really feel like he would. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Shiloh. Thank you for all the ears that hear. If you want to leave a monetary tithe, there's a Cash App and a PayPal, but I don't require a monetary tithe to be part of the ministry. Your time is more valuable than any. You can't, you could be a counterfeiter like the central banks, and you could print money, but you can't make time, or you can't print time. So I do appreciate all the time you give me. Pastor Revelation, remember, we're in the last book. What an amazing time to be here. Guys, my life is in danger every moment of the day, and I'm so thankful that I have Father protecting me, because I feel like if I didn't, he would have already, but my day of death is written, so I've got to try to just keep myself focused and keep doing what I'm doing. And that's why I need to make these phone calls, brother, sister. I got to get this lawsuit, going, and I don't want to think that I have to sue the county and the state and make the residents pay, but that's what it's probably going to get them to take to drop the case. So, thank you, Father, that there's hearing ear and the eyes to see. And go watch. There's thousands of hours. Go see Brother Jim. We talked about Grace and Truth Ministries. Nothing's going to do. I am not under the law of fate, brothers, sisters. There's laws here, but I'm not by fate. That is, I'm not bound by fate. I'm bound by destiny. And so my destination is already chose. He already knows. I don't live in fear. I am not anxious. I'm very, I don't want my dogs to have to be without me. That's when I was being SWAT raided. What about my dogs, guys? What about my dogs? And the last moments, I love you, Tango. I love you. I'm still very scared for my dogs. I'll be all right. I don't care what happens to Splash. I just think that my son has to look over his shoulder every day, and my daughter right now, and they could be kidnapped in that cave, and law enforcement won't do anything to protect them right now. Either denied a call for service. When I said they could be dead there, guys, I don't know what to do. I'm a dad. I've done everything I could possibly do. So I'm just going to try to keep military bearing and now make the phone calls. It just hurts my heart again that, I'm a resident of this state, that I would have to, pay, for, so taxpayers are going to have to pay for the criminal behavior of their law enforcement. Doesn't seem right. So drop a comment, hit the thumbs up. Links are in the description. Love you, brothers, sisters. Pastor Revelation, Pastor Apocalypse. Whoa.